knowing that what used to be my studio is being put to really good use. Sam?
My studio is located in downtown Manhattan in 368 Broadway, the world-famous Casey building. You see those 3 windows right there? Those all used to be Casey's, and now that leftmost window is my studio. Now, before we actually go inside my studio, you might recognize my neighbor's door. This is Casey's office, right next door to mine. This used to be Casey's office, but he's since moved to LA, and the wall was put back up, and he got rid of just about everything in here, except there are a few specific artifacts that remain, and I'll point them out as we go along the tour. Let's start at my desk over here. One of my favorite things about this space in particular are the gigantic windows that overlook Broadway. Natural light is an incredible thing, and it's something that my old studio down the hall was substantially lacking. It is awesome, literally, having a window into New York City. And yes, it can certainly get loud with traffic, people honking their horns, sirens, that kind of thing. If you've seen Casey's videos, you probably know what I'm talking about. Along the windowsill, I have a couple of just random knickknacks. There's a tiny Hot Wheels car, a tiny Rubik's Cube, a D-brand Rubik's Cube, and then this American flag, which Casey has used in a few of his videos. And then over here on the left is a wooden dart that Casey left behind, and I kept it because why not? Back here, I've got a megaphone in classic Casey style. I actually used this the other night. This is a true story. There was a cab driver parked out here with another driver, and they were yelling at each other, and I kind of ignored it for a second, and they kept yelling at each other, and then I looked and saw the dude rolling up his sleeve to effectively fight this cab driver. So I got on the microphone, I climbed on the desk, I opened the window, I stuck the megaphone out the window, and I told them to please keep it down, and they didn't end up fighting, which is great. And right in front of the window, this desk, my desk, was built by Casey. It's made out of wood and has these metal pipes that act as legs. It's really strong and supportive, like I can stand on it with no problem. It's also got multiple cutouts. There are holes in the desk for cable management that helps reduce clutter and just keep things neat and organized on top. On top of my desk is my workstation. So I've got a dual monitor setup over here. I have a Shure SM7B microphone. I use HyperX Cloud wireless headphones. I've got Klipsch speakers here. They're very good. I use an Xtrify keyboard, which has a very cool rainbow RGB setup. I have a Corsair mouse. Over here, this little thing with all these screens is an Elgato Stream Deck. It's a way to execute quick actions on your computer, so I can literally press this Twitter button right here, and it opens up twitter.com for me. I have my CPU usage over here. I have the current price of Bitcoin. This is a really cool little device. All of these peripherals are connected to my custom main gear F131. The whole system is built around liquid cooling, so there's a custom GPU cooling block. The GPU is an RTX 2080 Ti, and the CPU is a 28-core Intel i9 7940X clocked at 3.1 gigahertz. I use this PC for everything these days, whether it's watching YouTube videos, whether it's gaming, whether it's streaming, and of course, editing my 4K videos, all done on this beast. And none of this is any good without a fast internet connection, and I've got gigabit internet in here. I'm gonna just do a quick speed test here. It's 3:30 in the afternoon on a Friday, so kind of prime time hours, but let's see what we get here. I would imagine somewhere, yeah, I was gonna say around 700, 800, and we'll see what happens with the upload. Give it a second here. Over 800 up. Pretty gnarly speeds, right? It lets me watch those 8K MKBHD videos with no problem. And no, this is not an 8K monitor, but moving clockwise away from my desk, there's another desk that was also built by Casey, and if you recall, he used to have The Godfather playing on this wall and all of his security monitors and that kind of thing. There are 2 PC setups here, used for working when friends come by, used for gaming. There are RTX cards in the PCs. These are both G-Sync monitors. It's pretty cool to have multiple setups sort of like right next to each other. It's like a little LAN party in here. And then directly above these setups is my Boring Company shrine. I've got the knot, a flamethrower. I've got the fire extinguisher and the hat. And then above me are storage shelves. So there's power cables. There's a lot of also kind of random things. There's a Master Chief helmet up there. There's a Pelican case for my main gear. There's a bunch of shoe boxes. And then on these shelves down here are things like hard drives and lenses, things that I can reach and use on a regular basis. Now I'm standing in front of the wall that now divides Casey's office with my office. And I've sort of dedicated this wall to one of my favorite artists. She's Australian. Her name is CJ Hendry. And I have 4 of her lenticular pieces, meaning when you move side to side, the colors change. They're really cool to look at. This red wall used to be Casey's Polaroid wall. He filled it up entirely with Polaroids, and he took those Polaroids with him, obviously. And I've now turned this into my ideation station. I repurposed 2 smaller whiteboards, turned them vertically, and now there's sort of one giant whiteboard. Making a list for yourself and then crossing things out or erasing them is a very good mental practice to actually get things done, like you clicking subscribe on my YouTube channel. Before we completely move away from my desk, I do have a mini fridge. My friend Joey bought it for me. Thank you, Joey. I've got just some LaCroix in here, nothing spectacular, but there is a little fridge. Next to my Hendry wall is where I keep some of my Dyson stuff. The vacuum V11 over here, and then the Pure Hot Cool sits here and sort of purifies the room. And now we come to what I think is the centerpiece of the whole studio, is my wholly boosted Cove. Originally, I thought we were only gonna be able to fit 6 boards across, but thanks to very precise measuring and my brother Daron and our friend Judah, we were able to get 8 boards hung. They're all hung with these orange racks and these custom cut blocks, and I've got chargers mounted here as well. And what's really cool is the chargers can reach the bottom or the top very easily. And so every morning I come in, I hang my boosted board up here. I've been lately riding the Stealth with the big wheels and the lights. And I've got a mini USB always plugged in here to charge my remotes. Next to the boosted Cove is an exposed brick wall, as you can see. I really like it in here. It's a very, authentic New York thing. And then there are the 2 Super 73s. They're great electric bikes. You might have seen my review on the Super 73 that I published in August of 2017. Fun fact, that video was the first video on my channel to hit 1 million views. All right, so now you've effectively seen the front half of the studio, as I'm gonna call it. And if you remember, Casey used to have a wall basically right here that divided the front and the back. I had the wall removed because now it's really open and feels very spacious in here. Behind me is the back of the studio, which features more Casey craftsmanship. In fact, this floor that I'm sitting on, the stage, doubles as a storage unit, also built by Casey. There also used to be a step here, which I found to be a tripping hazard because Casey never used to use this door. He always sort of came through there. But when you come through the door here, I felt the step was in the way, so I got rid of it. If you've watched Casey for a while, you probably know about the speed bag apparatus here. This was built by him back in 2013. I'll leave that video linked in the description if you want to check it out. It's a Casey classic. The speed bag obviously fully functions, and it's really therapeutic to just come and just mash this thing. And there are definitely times during the day where I'll just get up off my desk, come and smash this thing for even like 30 seconds at a time. It kind of just like resets your focus. This couch also used to be Casey's. It is in the exact same spot as it was when he had this studio space. I left this wood panel thing on here that he custom made. It's still got the PlayStation controllers and the TV remote. I don't have that TV or a PlayStation in here, but I kept them anyway. Across from the couch is my epic 65-inch LG OLED. It is 4K and it is connected to my gigabit internet over Wi-Fi. So YouTube videos play in 4K on here and they look great. Below the TV, my brother keeps his Fender Head and the orange cabinet in the studio, which is great because he also keeps his 70s Fender and late 60s Gretsch. And they are fantastic instruments and they sound epic on this machinery. To the right of the TV are repurposed Casey shelves. This shelving unit used to be right back here where the exposed brick was. Now I've got my sort of accolades over here. There's tools, my YouTube plaque, there's a bunch of phones over here, some booze, some hats, shoes, N64, that kind of stuff. Below the shelving units is where I have my electronic piano. It's called the Wurlitzer Classroom Electronic Piano, and it's from 1976. And it's an electronic piano, meaning you can turn it on and it gets really loud. And what's really cool is it has a vibrato knob too, so you can go. Can you hear that vibrato? I'll turn it up really. Oh yeah. The back wall of my studio is where I've hung up more of my art. I had something similar in my old studio, if you remember. I've got some Mars Volta posters. I've got some of my friend Mark Samsonovich's work over here. I've got a Fail poster over here. I like how sort of different all these pieces are, but when they're all together, it just looks like a really cool art wall. And this setup back here belongs to my friend Colin, who I'm actually sharing the studio with, and who will be joining me on my podcast when I reboot it once again. There's a link to my podcast in the description. If you didn't know I had a podcast, go listen to one of the episodes so you can get a taste of what's to come. The last thing I want to show you on this tour is another Casey leftover, and that is the gymnast rings. It is also one of my favorite things in here that was left over by Casey. You can do gymnast activities on here, you know, like pull-ups and that kind of thing, but what I like to do is get a really epic swing going on, except there's nowhere that I can land, like in Venice Beach, how there's like sand. I can't really land anywhere, so I'm gonna just stop myself. Okay. Oh, how could I forget the door, the infamous Casey painted red door. It's got the Neistat brothers word mark here, which I can only imagine is at least a decade old. I've also got a security system up there in classic Casey fashion, and then the work harder clock, which came with me from my old studio. Get some familiar faces passing through quite often. It's cool, right?
It's nice.
It's like Casey.
Of course.
There are a few quick things that I think are worth mentioning if you're curious. So there are 2 bathrooms down the hall, but I'm not gonna bother showing you bathrooms because they're bathrooms. The lights in here are new. There are 4 LED panels, which keep it nice and bright in here. And then the electricity, everything was sort of rewired after Casey left, so I've got good new power. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new around here to keep up with the progression of my studio, to see what videos I make out of this historic space. I've got a lot planned for 2020. And that is gonna do it for this rendition of my studio tour. Thanks a ton for watching. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.